Right after our daughter was born, we started looking for a church, and actually we went to a couple and thought they were too big. So I walked through the doors of Hope, which at that point in time was a little office building by Perkins, and there was probably a dozen people in there.
I got a call to come play for a church. They were just starting out. I said, okay, I'll check it out. Walked in the door and there was 8 of us sitting in there. So I thought, okay, this is church, here we go.
We had a toddler and an infant, a newborn. No problem, we're gonna sneak in the back row, nobody's gonna notice.
And when we walked into the church, the 4 of us at the time increased attendance by 20%.
You can't sneak in the back row when there are only 2 rows there. I said, honey, I think this one might be a little bit too small for us. It was funny how God showed me how a little small church couldn't be too small because he was soon going to grow it way bigger than anybody ever expected it to be.
Lutheran Church of Hope hasn't been a big advertising group that goes out there and drags people in. It's us. It's the people that are in the church that go out.
We all met in a living room to think about a mission statement. Where did we want to be as a church? Where did we want to grow? What was the future looking like? What was God going to do through us? That's when it started to hit home, and we are going to impact some lives. And I get to witness this from stage 1.
The new member class is actually at our house. And, sometimes no one would show up, and then sometimes you'd have like 2 or 3. And then one time we had 60 people show up. We didn't have enough furniture.
Things just kept filling up and filling up. When we moved into the Ashworth building, the building wasn't completely done. And we actually had a service there. I think it was Easter sunrise. And I remember I was all bundled up. It was absolutely frigid. So I was like, aren't they gonna finish it? Like, what are we doing here?
It just got crazy to the point that every time we talked about a new building, expanding, adding chairs, by the time that we actually got the building built, the chairs bought, we were so far behind again. It's as though we were never able to catch up. It was nuts.
I couldn't imagine that people were actually okay with coming to church and sitting in a hallway, single file metal chairs in front of bathroom doors. It was just a God thing. People just kept showing up.
So they actually built another sanctuary, and we moved into that one, and pretty soon that got full. People were sitting in the old sanctuary for overflow, and I remember I got recruited to run the camera, and I turned around at one of the services, and there were people sitting in the kitchen and in the lobby and in the hallway past the lobby. And I was just thinking to myself, wow, this is getting pretty big.
Mike and I and Erica and Mike Horseman, we went to a conference in Arizona. It was this pastor, he prayed for us and said, God is calling you to lead a church of thousands. It might sound funny, but Hope hasn't always been thousands. And so to hear that for the first time was overwhelming, to say the least.
That was a huge vision. We were buying, I think it was 24 acres of land, and we were not that big of a church at the time. So that day that we did the groundbreaking, where we walked over with our shovels and had a big circle all the way around and seeing how many people were there compared to where we had been.
When we opened the doors here in 2001, I know that we thought that we were going to be having too many chairs in what used to be the worship center, which is now the bridge, and we had 750 chairs, and to see it overflow in the first week and then continue blew our minds a lot.
And I was just like, oh man, that's kind of a shame. It's already full. And then I realized, being my 10-year-old self, that it was a good thing, and it was the Holy Spirit working.
The feeling of being welcomed hasn't changed. We want you to come and meet Jesus. We want to walk alongside you. We want to support you.
We're constantly building and deepening our relationship with Jesus Christ, and the Holy Spirit is here, and you can feel it. I see people come in to Hope for the first time. They leave filled up, and they say, God touched my heart here, and I don't know why, but I can't stop crying. The musicians we have here are God sent, I believe it. The talent is absolutely amazing, and it connects you to Jesus. Opens up your heart so you're ready to hear the message from one of the pastors, and that's when things start to really happen.
When you can pull the mic away from your face and let the congregation sing it?
The Holy Spirit is drawing people here. That there's something just deeper.
And you can feel that at all the different places we've worshiped, whether it's been in the Valley High School gymnasium, at Vets Auditorium. I can't tell you that it hasn't been a little bit overwhelming when you're setting up in some of these places and you look at all the empty seats and think, oh man, who's gonna come? I'm like, how are all these seats gonna get filled? The next day or later that day, you see the seats get filled up. Hope has worshiped in over 25 places over the last 25 years, so it's clearly not about the building, it's about the God we worship. You never leave any of the places that we've worshiped without knowing Jesus better and without praising his name.
13 years ago, we came to Pastor Mike and said, we want to do an Indian Christmas outreach. There are more than 10,000 Indians in Des Moines, most of them who do not have a Christian experience. We did a small event in the gym. Pastor Mike shared the word. About 70 people came from our community here. Today, 13 years later, our Indian Christmas, we have about 400 people that come, and it is such a joy for us to share Christ to the Indian community here in Des Moines. The thing that I believe Hope does differently is they genuinely care for people coming here. They genuinely care.
I believe that we as a church, we as Hope, are being called to step into those places, to fill gaps. It's exciting to think about what's to come.
It's amazing what this church this size does now, the Super Bowl program, the building houses. You have a critical mass of people doing good things.
In 2000, we moved here to Des Moines, Iowa. Lutheran Church of Hope was instrumental. We came in, they were at the airport, they welcomed us, they provided us accommodation. The mission of the church of reaching out to the world and to share the everlasting love of Jesus Christ, I saw that in my experience. And we became members. When I tell my story to friends out there in Des Moines, they're like, are you sure? Is there a church like that? I say, come and check it out.
We were in the first group of small groups, and people that we joined together at that time are, 25 years later, those are our best friends.
I was fortunate enough to be able to connect with several people at Hope originally, and doing some men's small group stuff on Wednesday mornings, really connected with guys, and we're able to just share our hearts. So that was very helpful to find those people at Hope.
When you belong to a small group, you have your own family within the church family.
There's no way to do something like this without God having his hand in it. The numbers, the lives change, the stories that you hear time and time again, it's God doing his work and using Hope, and so we should all be humbled and blessed to know that that's happening.
Pastor Mike asked for folks to volunteer to plant the church in Ankeny. We raised up our hands, my family, we committed to 1 year. Here is an opportunity for me to serve.
Each one of the campuses feel like Hope. When you walk in, you know that it's Ankeny, but you also know that it's Hope. In downtown Des Moines, you can feel that. And so I think that that's the reason why each one of the campuses are growing like they are, like what we have with our Hope Locals. And I can't wait to see those popping up throughout the U.S. and, overseas too.
We started out as kind of a little neighborhood church, and I think God is challenging us to see that the neighborhood is way bigger than we ever dreamed it could possibly be.
He didn't just say Des Moines. He didn't say Iowa. He said the world around us. This church will continue to blossom and continue to grow because God sees the heart of the church.
When I was in elementary school, I remember thinking Hope was just so big. Now I look back and go, wow, I never would have even thought it would have been this big. And that's what I think is going to happen in the future. People are going to look back and it's going to be like, remember in 2019 we thought Hope was huge? I mean, little did we know it would be this big. Who knows where it'll be in 25 years? I'm willing to bet God will exceed our expectations on that one.
I'm just saying this is the beginning. This is just the beginning. Lutheran Church of Hope is like a mustard seed that is deep-rooted in God's world.
When I see the vision and hear the vision of what's to come, it's overwhelming to me because of how it started. We were in an office building with 12 people. God's got it. Step out of the way. Things are going to come. And if I can be moved like this in 25 years, people are going to be moved in the next 25, no matter how long they've been here. And just strap in for the ride. It's going to be awesome.